Hello and welcome, I am Gary Reaver and this is the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign. This is the campaign round 6 going into 7 campaign episode where we see how the previous round of battles has affected the overall campaign. And I've said campaign so many times I'm going to try and not say it for the remainder of the video. Couple of quick things first. Apologies if it is noisier here than usual. It is freakishly hot, so I've got 2 fans and my computer is also obviously has multiple fans in it, so it's a bit noisy in here. But the good news is, in the time it took me to edit the previous battle, which obviously took a long time given how bloody long that one is, I have managed to, I'm fairly sure, don't want to jinx it, fix my computer crashes. So I put in a new processor and it seems to all be working fine. Yes. However, I am also a bit ill. Apologies about that. Swings and roundabouts in it. First things first, we go through the battles of round 6 and allot the Empire points for their victories or losses. First of all was the Skull Smashers versus Wizenland, resulting in a draw. That means the Skull Smashers get 2 points, but Wizenland chose the All or Nothing event, which says if you do not draw or lose, you get 2 extra points. If you do draw or lose any match, you get no Empire points this round. So I'm afraid Wizenland gets nothing. Next is the Empire versus Sylvania, which resulted in a Sylvanian massacre to the Empire's loss. That means the Empire gets 1 point and Sylvania gets 5, but we will come back to them as they played a second match this round. The third match was Solland versus Wizenland, with Solland fielding mercenary forces, and this resulted in a Solland massacre and a loss for Wizenland. This gives Solland also 5 Empire points, but of course Wizenland still gets nothing. And then the final match was the longest one I've done on this channel, and it was Sylvania versus Clan Deathtoll in the Siege of Drakenhof. This resulted in a Clan Deathtoll massacre of Sylvania. However, they did not technically achieve the objectives. So that gives 5 Empire points to Clan Deathtoll and 1 to Sylvania for their loss. When a faction does multiple battles in a round, you average the points they get, so the 5 and the 1 balance out to a 3 for Sylvania. And the last thing for this phase before we move on is Solland has to pay their mercenaries. So they pay 2d6 gold per battle they use them in. They only have 2 gold left. I did not realise this. So let's see. Oh, yeah, they've been charged 12 gold. So I guess their mercenaries are going to run amok in Fieldorf. Ha! That's bad for them. Well, bad for Solland and Fieldorf and everyone apart from the ogre mercenaries, really. But that means that they lose their ogre mercenaries card. So if they want to hire mercenaries, they're going to have to purchase the event again. But now that the battles are all done, we go round in turn order to spend the Empire points, starting with the Skull Smashers, who chose the Land Grab event, meaning they can buy a tile for a single Empire point. So they are going to capture this tile here, which is not counted as mountain but is counted as a river, and they are then immediately going to build for 1 point as well, giving them finally a source of revenue. I actually think I'm going to punish Solland a bit more for not paying their mercenaries, so I think I'm going to take away 1 of their Empire points to spend, so that they only have 4 this round. And before you think that's too unfair, look at what they've just accomplished, because they are going to spend 3 points to conquer a tile. And to conquer a tile, as was shown, was it last round? You have to win a battle against the Empire you are conquering. So they won a battle against Wizenland, they are going to conquer Fieldorf. And because it is a city, it costs an additional point, so a total of 4 points to conquer Fieldorf. This does actually split Wizenland in half, but that doesn't actually make any mechanical difference. Next is the Empire, who cannot afford to claim a new tile, but are going to build a mine. I took the actual mine. Whoops. I was supposed to copy this and not just nick it. But yes. Oh, now it's broken. Anyway. Yes, they are going to build a mine on this river, which is the Reich door? Yes, the Reich. Next is Sylvania with 3 points to spend. They are going to claim this river tile moving further into the Empire, and then they are also going to build a mine on their new river. And for our second conquering this round, Clan Deathtoll have 5 points to spend. They're going to spend 4 to conquer Castle Drakenhof itself, the Sylvanian capital. So that's 3 to conquer an adjacent tile against a faction they won against, and 1 because it is a city. So they do take... Oh, it's messing up again. Nope, doesn't seem to like... Stop resisting the Skaven. There. So they have actually conquered Drakenhof. And as they have a spare point, they will also raid, generating 2d6 gold. 7 more gold, giving them a total of 7 gold. And then finally, Wizardland has nothing, so they can do nothing. And as I reset the board for round 7, here are the characters who are recovering. And with the board reset, we determine the turn order for round 7, starting with the smallest number of tiles, followed by the smallest empire size going first. And we actually have a tie right at the bottom. We have the Skull Smashers and the Empire, both with 4 tiles and 5 empire size, because they each have a city. So we roll off to determine who goes first. The Empire rolls a 6, that's going to be hard to beat. Yeah, so the Empire goes first, and the Skull Smashers goes second. However, the rest are fairly cut and dry. In third, we have Solland Revivalists with 5 tiles and 6 empire points because of their newly captured city. Fourth is Sylvania with 6 tiles and 6 empire size now that they have lost their city. 5 is Wizardland with 6 tiles and 7 empire because of the city they lost, meaning the 6th faction is Clan Deathtoll with 8 tiles and 9 empire size, making them the largest empire. That gives them a free 100 points to all their battles this round. Now for them to choose their events. The Empire is going to go with Land Grab, of course, as it is basically the best event. Skull Smashers are going to choose Scouts, which I really have a growing appreciation for. Solland are going to go with Fool's Gold. So they target an empire, and that empire cannot gain revenue from mines, and they are targeting Wizardland. So Wizardland cannot gain any revenue from their many mines. Sylvania is choosing Disaster, and they also target someone, so they are targeting Clan Deathtoll. And now we roll a dice for each castle, city, and mine, and on a 1, it is destroyed. So there is a chance Drakenhof itself could be destroyed by this. So we'll start at the bottom and work our way up, as basically almost every tile of Clan Deathtoll has a thing on it. So for convenience, I have this little roller. Let's start off with Carrick Varn. On a 1, it is destroyed. Nope. Mine. Yes, this mine is destroyed. This mine. Yes, gone. Bloody hell, this mine. Nope, almost. This mine. Nope, almost again, and Drakenhof itself. Nope, Drakenhof is fine. Next is Wizardland, and they choose Building Boom, and they are going to build a castle, which we've only seen a couple of, really, and they're going to place it here, south of Nuln, so that it's a bit harder to conquer, because it costs an extra point to conquer a castle. And then finally, Sylvania are going to go with Diplomacy, and they are going to, in some way, somehow, and I'm honestly finding it a bit hard to justify, they are using Diplomacy to stop Sylvania from declaring an attack against Deathtoll. I suppose we can say it as because Mannfred has now gone missing, they are scrambling and are unable to marshal an attack against Deathtoll, whereas the forces already in the field probably can still fight. Next is the revenue phase, where any mines can generate new gold. So we go round in turn order. The Empire has 2 mines, so that is 2 of these, and on a double 1, the mine is exhausted. So that's 10 gold, and 4 more. 14 gold for the Empire, adding to the 18 they already had for a total of 32. Skull Smashers have a single mine for basically the first time this game, so they generate 6 gold. Oh, such bounty. adding to the 7 they already had for a total of 13. Solland has 2 mines, so they get 4d6, so that's 3, and 8 for a total of 11. Adding to the 0 they had for a total of 11. Sylvania still has 3 mines here, so they get 3 rolls of this. So 9, 5, and 5 for a total of 19. Adding to the 9 they already had for a total of 28. Wissenland is under the effect of Fool's Gold, meaning they cannot generate any more revenue. Not that they'd miss it, they already have 32. And finally, Clan Deathtoll have 2 mines, but one is a mountain mine and instead rolls 3d6. So we'll do the river mine first. 10. And the mountain mine, an additional 10. So 20 gold for Clan Deathtoll. Adding to the 7 they already had for a total of 27. So we have a couple of poor factions, but the rest are really quite rich, as I think you're limited to 25 per battle. And the next phase is the challenge phase, where they go round again in turn order and challenge another faction. So starting with the Empire, they are going to challenge Sylvania because they are pissed about Volkmar. They're really, 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 really displeased about the loss of their Grand Theogonist. So they are challenging Sylvania, meaning Sylvania are unable to challenge. Next is the Skull Smashers, and they are going to be bold, because Cromgit wants to establish his supremacy as the leader of the Skull Smashers tribe, and thus he is going to attack Nuln. So I think I might do another siege, and have a siege of Nuln where the Skull Smashers really step up to try and take just a crown jewel of the Empire. I think that could be really fun. So Wissenland cannot challenge. And I think Solland, for their challenge, they're going to challenge Sylvania. Because they're getting, like, their lines are getting a bit close. Sylvania's pressing towards Averheim, which Solland has no reason to take, but they are aware of their encroachment. They are also aware of what happened to the Grand Theogonist, and like defending Sigma is a good way to claim legitimacy as a province of the Empire. So I think I might do a 2-on-1 with the Empire and Solland versus Sylvania. So that means Sylvania is unable to challenge, Wissenland is also unable to challenge, leaving Clan Deathtoll. And although it would be funny to attack Sylvania as well, I think they will actually go for Solland, because they're the only other sort of nearby threat. So they will challenge Solland. So for points, I'm thinking a 3,000 point match of the Empire and Solland versus Sylvania, which will allow me to field, hopefully, the Emperor himself. That would be cool. I might struggle a bit, I don't know, I'll see. I might have Solland as like a token force, with most of it being the Empire. I'm thinking a 3,000 point siege of Nuln, because that should be a massive gun fest. And I kind of want to cram as many guns as I can onto the walls and see what a proper siege is like when you can actually shoot at your attackers. Though I can only imagine how bloody long that match will take. I might have to split it up if it's another long one like that. But in fairness, I won't have to explain all the rules for the first bloody half hour. I'm not sure if that was a good idea. And then I think just a 2,000 point match of Deathtoll versus Solland. Because, you know, Clan Deathtoll had a big one before, and, yeah, there are plenty of other big matches in this round. So as the largest empire, Clan Deathtoll gets a free 100 points to theirs, and Solland would need to basically put all of their points in to refute that, but they're going to bide their money, so Solland isn't going to spend any. Deathtoll is not a particularly important match. I think they'll also hold on to theirs. God, do I want to put more points into this? Yeah, let's have... let's put in an extra, what's the limit? Up to 250 gold. So I think they're going to put in 25 gold into the attack on Sylvania, because if there was ever a time for the Empire to really rally out in force, it is when the Grand Theogonist gets murdered. So they're going to put in 25 gold. Again, Solland won't be putting any in, but Sylvania... I think they're going to put in 10 gold, because they're feeling suddenly a little bit pressed from all sides, and they don't want to spend all of their gold on this one fight. Wizardland are also going to put in 10. They don't want to put in a massive amount because they have not been able to generate revenue, and they are a little bit concerned about running out. And the Skull Smashers, ooh, you know what? They're going to put in all 13, because if there was ever a time that they were going to throw everything in, it would be when they try and besiege Nuln. So there we go. We'll probably start with the smallest battle first, that is Solland versus Clan Deathtoll, then have the Siege of Nuln, and then round it off with the Emperor attacking Sylvania. So those will be out over the next few weeks, hopefully, but if they take as long to edit and record as the previous ones, it may be a little gap between them. I'm also wondering how much longer this campaign will go, because it's not that I'm sort of getting bored of it, I've just got tons of ideas for how this campaign could have worked better, rules and changes and stuff, but rather than entering them now at this late stage, I think I'd rather do a new campaign and introduce this stuff from the start so that it can really shape the campaign with custom rules for each faction, custom objectives. I've got loads of ideas. I do also want to do a 40k battle and show you how that could work, because that is another possible for a campaign. So I'll try and do that in this round, and this could be the final round of the campaign. I'll see how I feel when we come around to the next campaign turn and how the battles go, but you know, if I was to end it after these climactic battles, I think that could be a good way to round out the campaign, which had no real ending objectives, whereas future campaigns will. So let me know what you think of that, whether there should be a set ending for this, or whether I should just keep going until sort of a point seems right. You know, let me know what you think, and I'll try and do a 40k battle to show you what that will be like. So thank you very much. Check out the upcoming battles, like I said, over the next few weeks, and thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you later.